Mr. Schoaf gave me a simple formula when I first met him, and let me give it to you. He said there's usually about a half dozen things makes 80% of the difference. There's about a half dozen wealth things, about a half dozen health things that can give you the 80% solution to the problem. Then Mr. Schoaf said, be a student of those half dozen basic things. Pretty good advice. Success is not doing extraordinary things. Success is doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. So if you just learn to do it well, key things well, learn to speak well. Poor people can talk and rich people can talk. Looks like rich people talk better. Learning to speak is called survival. Learning to speak well is called success. So let me give you what I think are fundamental pieces to life, and we'll take it from there. Here's the first one. Philosophy. Philosophy, in very simple terms, is simply what you know. And what you know greatly affects how your life works out. We might also add, what you don't know greatly affects how your life works out. The idea you miss could be the missing number in trying to put the numbers in the lock. So, what you don't know will hurt you, to correct an old cliche. And to correct another one, ignorance is not bliss. It's important to know. It's important to get the information. Now, we do something very important with what we know. We weigh it. That's another good word. We weigh. Weigh everything before you do it, before you buy it, before you try it. Make sure you weigh it. Everything you get ready to do, you got to decide whether it's a major or a minor, and you don't want to give minor things major time. You don't want to give something insignificant significant amounts of your energy. So we simply use the phrase, weigh before you pay. Sophisticated people learn to weigh everything. And what we all need is a good set of mental scales to weigh everything. What if you got information and your mental scales were off and insignificant things to you were significant? Everything you get ready to do, you got to decide whether of your life. When you weighed something, important things weighed unimportant, we would call that a great handicap. So it's very important to weigh everything properly, and that's the reason for sermons and songs and lyrics and lectures and seminars and conversations and professors and teachers. It's one of the reasons why we converse with each other, and we debate and we think about and we ponder and we perceive and we weigh and we try to find out where the values are. Because you don't want to proceed and give big chunks of your life to something that's insignificant. Okay, so we get information, we weigh it, then we come to conclusions about values. Big question in forming your life, where are the values? What is important? What should weigh heavy on my mind and I should give it significant time and significant energy and significant money? Schoaf said to me, poor thinking habits keeps most people poor. Not poor working habits. Most people work hard, but they don't think hard. They don't use their mind to really try to perceive where the values are so that they don't waste any time. It's easy to spend big chunks of your life on insignificant things. It's one of the major pieces of the life puzzle. What you think about, knowledge, how you weigh it, the conclusions you come to, the values you've perceived, thinking. If you really want to help somebody change their life, you have to start changing their mind, change their philosophy, change how they think. Somebody says, well, just motivation, that'll do. And the answer is no, motivation won't do it. If a guy's an idiot and you motivate him, you got a motivated idiot. Right? Say, no, that's not what it takes. Now, it's very easy to make errors in judgment. Errors in judgment. I'm now teaching people, even after they're out of school, university, college, they should read at least 1 or 2 books a week. It's easy when you get out of school, right, and get a job to just sort of let that all slide, not keep up the learning process. But if you don't keep up the learning process, a lot of values become fuzzy if you don't keep trying to perceive what's important, what's not important, and then start spending major effort on minor things. So we have to keep learning. What if a guy spent his book money on donuts? Right? We would call him greatly deprived mentally. In 10 years, the guy's bought 2 tons of donuts and only 2 books, right? Mostly with pictures. right? And he wonders why his life isn't working well. Reason. After he got out of school, he didn't keep up the flow of ideas that can help to refine your business and help to refine your decisions and help you come to better conclusions. You've got to keep up the learning curve, even after you're out of school, to make sure that you're not making errors in judgment. The reason why most people wind up average at age 40 instead of rich is simply an error in judgment about what to do with your money. What would you suggest a 15-year-old start as a plan to do with their money so that by 40 they're rich instead of average? You've got to have a good plan, right? If you start making errors early with your money, those errors can make your life mediocre instead of rich. You wind up with pennies instead of fortune. And you wind up with crumbs instead of a feast, simply because early you made errors on what to do with your money. The guy says, well, it's only $10. So what does it matter what I do with it? And the answer is, that's when it really matters, is when you don't have much. The guy says, oh, if I had a fortune, I'd really take good care of it, but I've only got a paycheck, so I don't know where it goes. We call those great errors in judgment. It's so important to make sure you've got a good plan when the amounts are small. But it's easy to make errors. It's easy not to know. It's easy to miscalculate. And if you miscalculate, some things keep adding and adding and adding. I got a good phrase for you. Life is accumulative. Good phrase to know. Life is accumulative. Our errors either accumulate into what we don't get, or our wise decisions accumulate into what we do get. Now, the key is to correct the errors as early as possible. Fortunately, Mr. Schoaf caught me at age 25, started asking me major questions. At age 25, he said, Mr. Owen, how long have you been working? And I said, I've been working 6 years. I started working when I was 19. He said, well, 6 years. How much money have you saved and invested in the last 6 years? I said, not any. He said, who sold you on that plan? Wow, 6 years is enough time now to check and see if you've got a good financial philosophy. And the time to catch the errors is early. So Mr. Schoaf started asking me those tough questions at age 25. How about your money? How about your resources? How about your investments? And you say, well, I've got plenty of time to worry about that and be concerned about that later. And the answer is probably not. Now's the time to fix it. Wherever you hear the good information, that's the time to start fixing it. So we're teaching kids now a good wealth philosophy. Starting at age 15 will make you wealthy by age 40, 45 at the latest if you're a little slow. Start doing wise things with your resources. When would you suggest people should do wise things with their resources? Answer, as soon as they get the better information. Now, you can't do what you don't know, but the key is to keep learning so that good ideas keep occurring to you. Now you can do more wise things, okay? But philosophy is where it all begins, what you know. Now, to know wise things, you simply have to study, as you're doing. Keep up the reading, keep up the conversations, keep up the listening to lectures, keep going through the information, keep stashing it away, taking the notes, right? There's no better way to adjust your philosophy than to have a continual flow of ideas. But that's the first piece of the life puzzle, philosophy. Now, here's number 2. Philosophy determines attitude. Attitude is simply how you feel. First, what you know sets the sail of your life. Now, how you feel starts taking you there. Attitude. Now, there's all kinds of ways to feel, right? You can feel good or you can feel bad. Here's one attitude. If this is all they pay, I'm not coming early and I'm not staying late on the job. That's an attitude, right? If this is all they pay, I don't come early and I don't stay late. Now, do you suppose that attitude, if you carried it through the rest of your life, do you suppose that attitude would greatly affect your life as the years unfold? The answer is overwhelmingly, of course. Here's another attitude. No matter what they pay, I always come early and I always stay late to invest in my own future. Isn't that fascinating? Attitude is by choice. You can either choose to come early or you can choose to come late. You can either choose to leave early, or you can choose to stay late. Attitude's a matter of choice. Now, to make wise choice, we need educated attitudes. Emotions must go to school to learn where the values are. Okay? Good phrase. Emotions must go to school. When kids are young, right? A 3-year-old, falls on the floor and kicks his feet and screams. We say, well, that's okay when you're 3, but it isn't okay when you're 30. Right? As a little kid, right, you can retaliate and punch somebody out, but when you're 23, we say, no, you got to learn now to take that emotion and send it to school and find out where the values are. It's okay to feel strong, but you've got to learn to restrain yourself in a society if you want life to go well for you. So attitudes now become a matter of educated choice. Educated choice. But how we feel is going to greatly determine how our life works out. Now, it's how you feel about a variety of things. Let me give you that list. Number 1, it's how you feel about the past. Now, when you're young, you haven't got that much past to feel about, but I'm sure you've had some ups and downs. You've had some wins and losses. So part of our attitude is based on how we feel about the past. Some people are still carrying the burdens of the past. They're affected by some difficulties, some losses, whatever. They're carrying it around like a burden. Instead of using the past as a school, they're using it as a threat to their life. So part of it is solving the attitude about the past, how you feel about it. Number 2, it's how you feel about the future.